This is Michael Falkner, and it's showtime at the August 30th, 2011 edition of the Weekly Podioplex, brought to you by the Chronic Rift. This weekend's box office results start with number 10 and Crazy, Stupid Love, staying steady from last week. At number 9 is Fright Night, down from last week's 6th place performance. And in 8th place is last week's 4th, Conan the Barbarian. In 7th is last week's number 5, The Smurfs. And at number 6 is Spy Kids, All the Time in the World, down 3 places from 3rd. Looking at 5th place, we find new release Our Idiot Brother, kicking off with $7 million. 4th place brings us another new release, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, with a premiere of $8.5 million against a $25 million budget. In 3rd place is Rise of the Planet of the Apes, pulling in another $8.9 million to bring Caesar and the Revolution to $149 million in 4 weeks. This week's runner-up is new release Colombiana, starting its run with $10.5 million toward its $40 million budget. But nothing could beat this week's number 1 movie, The Help, bringing another $14.5 million to the 3-week-old movie and summing it up to $97 million total gross against a $25 million budget. In new releases, Colombiana beat film expectations with the majority of audience members being females. And Don't Be Afraid of the Dark disappointed its distributor Film District. The same can be said for Our Idiot Brother. Movies going into Labor Day are usually quite tepid, and presumably because Hurricane Irene came to visit, this weekend was the second slowest of the year thus far. The only slower weekend was Super Bowl weekend back in February. Speaking for the Chronic Rift Network, we hope that you are all safe and well after the extreme weather over the weekend. September 2nd brings Labor Day to the United States and a few new releases, starting with Shark Night 3D, a horror film starring Sarah Paxton, Dustin Milligan, and Alyssa Diaz. A weekend at a lake house in the Louisiana Gulf turns into a nightmare for 7 vacationers as they are subjected to freshwater shark attacks. Shark Night 3D is rated R. Next up is The Debt, a drama thriller starring Helen Mirren, Sam Worthington, and Tom Wilkinson.
We should never forget how young they were. 30 years ago, these 3 dared to confront an unimaginable evil. Stephen Gold was the youngest unit commander in Mossad. David Peretz had his 29th birthday while on the mission. Rachel Singer was only 25 when she crossed through the checkpoint into Soviet-controlled East Berlin.
So first time in the field.
Good, that's good.
Welcome to the mission.
Their assignment had been to capture the surgeon of Birkenau, a man whose sadistic experiments left thousands disfigured or dead.
It's a brave thing you're doing.
I'm not brave. I'm terrified.
Take him back alive. We'll show the world what he did.
You're trembling. I think you're the one that is afraid, David. Afraid of the monster.
We followed.
Oh, God.
Only 4 people know what happened here.
No matter what, the truth stays in this room, between us.
What if we could go back? Would it be different?
We can't go back.
We have to deal with it.
Well, what does that mean? Deal with it.
This espionage thriller focuses on 3 spies who have been venerated for decades by their country because of their mission to track down Nazi war criminal Vogel in East Berlin. At great risk and at considerable personal cost, the team's mission was accomplished. Or was it? The Debt opens on August 31st and is rated R. Next on the slate is Apollo 18, a sci-fi thriller written by fringe scribe Ashley Edward Miller.
Okay, 18, you are go for landing. We're go for the moon.
Beautiful, isn't it?
This mission will mark the first use of the exterior motion sensor cameras.
I gotta document this. Nate says he never snores in his sleep.
Up on the ridge, 10 o'clock. Found a Soviet helmet and are now following what appear to be tracks made by a possible Soviet cosmonaut.
Why didn't we know about this?
DOD has clear signals on both transmitters. Your mission is complete.
What the hell was that? Something else out here.
Something's moving. Stay inside my suit.
I can't get it out. Let's go, What the hell are you doing?
They took us, folks!
You said this is liberty. Do you read me?
I can't see you.
Decades-old footage from NASA's abandoned Apollo 18 mission, where 2 American astronauts were sent on a secret expedition, reveals the reason that the U.S. has never returned to the moon. I'm not sure if this is foreshadowing or not, but the studio isn't releasing any information on the cast or crew. Apollo 18 is rated PG-13. Next up, we have A Good Old-Fashioned Orgy, a comedy starring Jason Sudeikis, Leslie Bibb, and Tyler Labine.
About earlier, when you first came out and I thought you were strippers, because that was an accident. You're just very attractive, and those uniforms are banging.
Sorry if I got beer on your baby.
I wasn't ready to throw me another one.
Everybody naked in the pool!
Hey, Dad, what are you doing here?
I'm putting the house on the market.
What about me? I'm always out here. My friends are always out here.
Meet the broker.
Hi. We can't wait to get your house sold.
No, thank you.
Lame. Oh, I shouldn't.
It's so sad not coming out here anymore.
You're probably feeling some anger and some misdirected frustration.
Feel better now? A little bit, yeah. You gotta do something huge, but what do you do for a final blowout?
How drunk do you get at these parties?
Pretty drunk. It's kind of a social obligation. I have a concept for the final fiesta. Labor Day weekend. We need to think outside of the box.
All right.
We're gonna have an orgy.
Ew!
This is our chance to do it right. Take back what's been taken from us.
Isn't that from Goonies?
I am paraphrasing Goonies there, yes.
This Labor Day.
I don't know how you could have sex in front of a room full of people. I don't even like to get naked at the spa.
Find out if this group of friends
Is it true? All of you were having this orgy, and you didn't think to invite us?
What are you all looking at me for?
has what it takes
I'm in. And I'm fully shaved.
to pull off a good old-fashioned orgy.
That's not distracting at all. Oh, I lied. It was a little distracting.
Commemorative Labor Day orgy t-shirts, right?
Where are we gonna wear these?
Anywhere.
A good old-fashioned orgy.
What are you doing for Labor Day?
We're doing just this small little thing. Nothing special.
Just set me free, yeah.
A group of 30-year-olds who have been friends since high school attempt to throw an end to summer orgy. A good old-fashioned orgy is, of course, rated R. And last up, we have Saving Private Perez, an adventure comedy starring Miguel Rodarte, Jesus Ochoa, and Joaquin Cosio. A Mexican crime lord is forced by his mother to plan a suicidal rescue mission to find his lost brother in the most unexpected place on Earth. Saving Private Perez is rated PG-13. August 30th is packed to the brim with TV on DVD, starting off with 90210 Season 3, starring Shanae Grimes and Annalyn McCord. Senior year in 90210 is a time of college acceptances and lovers' rejections, the time of prom dates and promises betrayed, the time of spring break, breakups, and makeups, but as is always the case in Beverly Hills, It all happens in a world of sun and fun, palm trees, and warm breezes. Next up is Cagney and Lacey, Together Again, starring Sharon Gless and Tyne Daly. New York's toughest lady detectives reteamed to solve the murder of a homeless transient who had been terrorizing the residents of a posh apartment building with screaming threats, insults, and physical intimidation. Next on the slate is Cougar Town, Season 2, starring Courtney Cox, Dan Bird, and Busy Phillips. This is the sophomore season of a show about a recently divorced woman who decides to find some excitement in her dating life. Next we have The Defenders, the DVD edition, starring James Belushi, Jerry O'Connell, and Journey Smollett. The Defenders is a series about two flashy Las Vegas defense attorneys who go to the mat for their clients. Next up is Desperate Housewives Season 7, starring Terry Hatcher, Felicity Huffman, and Marcia Cross. Secrets and truths unfold through the lives of female friends in one suburban neighborhood after the mysterious suicide of a neighbor. Next we have Detroit 187 Season 1, starring Michael Imperioli, James McDaniel, and Aisha Hinds. What does it take to be a detective in one of America's toughest cities? Follow one homicide unit as Detroit's finest reveal the crisis and revelation, heartbreak and heroism that characterize these inner-city cops. Next up is House, Season 7, starring Hugh Laurie, Robert Sean Leonard, and Lisa Edelstein. He's sarcastic, incorrigible, bitter, and in a relationship. Dr. Gregory House has spent his career taking on seemingly hopeless cases, but when his rapport with Dr. Lisa Cuddy changes, he finds himself facing new and very different challenges. His team at Princeton Plainsboro Teaching Hospital also continues to blaze trails as they investigate baffling medical cases involving a religious zealot, a professional bull rider, and possibly even smallpox. Next we have Murphy's Law, the complete collection, starring James Nesbitt, Dill Sennett, and Sarah Berger. Detective Tommy Murphy has nothing left to lose. Guilt-ridden over the death of his young daughter, who was slain by the IRA, he flees to London to work undercover for the Metropolitan Police. Hard-headed, hard-drinking, brash and brooding, Murphy is down on his luck, but he still has more than a bit of the old Irish charm, flashing quick wit and a roguish grin. Next is Nikita, Season 1, starring Maggie Q, Lindsay Fonseca, and Shane West. Division is an ultra-secret government agency whose operatives are recruited young people with severed ties to family, friends, and society. Trained to be invisible assassins, no one ever leaves Division, except the charming and deadly Nikita, who has managed to escape, making it her mission to undermine the now corrupt organization. A force to be reckoned with, the rogue Nikita taunts Division, staying on their radar, but always one step ahead. Yet as determined as Nikita is to bring down her former agency, there are those just as determined to stop her, including Division's newest recruit, Alex, a beautiful young woman who seems destined to replace Nikita as the next top operative. Next up is Sons of Anarchy, starring Charlie Hunnam, Ron Perlman, and Katie Seagal. Sons of Anarchy is about a man in his early 30s who struggles to find balance in his life between being a new dad and his involvement in a motorcycle gang. And last but not least, we have The Vampire Diaries Season 2, starring Nina Dobrev, Paul Wesley, and Ian Somerhalder. The seductive characters of The Vampire Diaries return, but this time Elena, Stefan, Damon, and the other residents of Mystic Falls are joined by sinister new blood, the Originals, the world's oldest and most dangerous vampires, who hunt for Elena, who in turn discover she has a terrifying connection to their world. And now bloodsuckers aren't the only monsters in town. Rounding out the DVD slate, we have 4 classics coming to Blu-ray, starting with Good Will Hunting from 1997, a drama starring Robin Williams, Matt Damon, and Ben Affleck. Will Hunting, a janitor at MIT, has a gift for mathematics, but needs help from a psychologist to find direction in his life. Good Will Hunting is rated R. Next up is The Nightmare Before Christmas from 1993, an animated film starring Danny Elfman, Chris Sarandon, and Catherine O'Hara. Jack Skellington, king of Halloween Town, discovers Christmas Town, but doesn't quite understand the concept. The Nightmare Before Christmas is rated PG. Next up is Top Gun from 1986, the action drama that made everyone want to fly for the Navy, starring Tom Cruise, Kelly McGillis, and Val Kilmer. The macho students of an elite U.S. flying school for advanced fighter pilots compete to be the best in the class, but one of them is romancing the teacher. Top Gun is rated PG. And last but not least, the show that needs no introduction, The Twilight Zone Season 5 is also coming to Blu-ray. Let's close this out with one item in the Quick Flicks. Ghostbusters 3. It's on, then it's off. Then it's back on, then it's off. And according to perpetual franchise cheerleader Dan Aykroyd, once again it's officially on. And apparently it's going to happen with or without Bill Murray. But it's also going to potentially happen with one of the Criminal Minds cast members. Speaking of Dennis Miller Radio, Aykroyd said, and I quote, "Yes, we will be doing the movie, and hopefully with Mr. Murray. That is our hope. We have an excellent script, but what we have to remember is that Ghostbusters is bigger than any one component. And although Billy was absolutely the lead and contributed to it in a massive way, as was the director and Harold Ramis, myself, and Sigourney Weaver, the concept is much bigger than an individual role, and the promise of Ghostbusters 3 is that we get to hand the equipment in the franchise to new blood. My character Ray is now blind in one eye and can't drive the Cadillac. He's got a bad knee and can't carry the packs. Egon is too large to get in the harness. We need young blood, and that's the promise. We're going to hand it to a new generation. I like this guy Matthew Gray Gubler from the Criminal Minds show. But there's going to be a casting. We're going to see everyone that wants to do it. We're going to need 3 guys and a young woman." You know, I honestly wouldn't mind a third Ghostbusters film, but I'm rather tired of this ping pong game. If you want to discuss anything you heard on this week's edition, why not take a moment to get in touch? You can surf on over to chronicgriff.com and leave a note in the forums. You can leave a voicemail at 888-866-9010, or you can write to John at chronicgriff.com. You can also find the Weekly Podioplex and the Chronic Grift on Facebook. If you decide to pick up any of this week's new releases, why not do it through our Amazon store? You get the newest entertainment at Amazon's low prices and high-quality service, and each purchase you make through the store supports the Chronic Grift. Look for the link in our show notes. The Weekly Podioplex is a collaboration of Creative Criticality and Lucky Shot Productions. This is Michael Falkner. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you at the theater.
I'd like to welcome you to the studio.
Wow, this is really fantastic. It looks just like the real thing.
That's why we wanted you here to advise us, make sure we're doing it right. After all, this is your life story.
No problem, as long as you got the right people to play us. Admit it, Redford was dying to play me, right?
Not exactly. Here's the cast list.
Murray, Aykroyd, and Ramis? What's that, a law firm?
And that's the script. We'd love your advice as long as we don't have to change anything. Now, if you'll follow Bob, he'll show you the rest of the studio.
How's it look?
Well, it's in English.
Is that good or bad?
That's a wrap!